Hello everyone and welcome to this homework review video for Year 5, Block 1, Week 4. This is the verbal reasoning video, and so we're going to go through the verbal reasoning homework. There will of course be another video that goes through the non-verbal reading homework for the same week. These are the two books. You'll notice we've moved on now from the Sins and Amsons book. It's just worth noting that although this book is fantastic, and although we have moved on from it in the homework, this is not, I hope, the last that you'll be using this book. It is chock full of vocabulary, and I'm sure there'll be pages left unfinished, so just make sure that you incorporate this into your weekly practice. My suggestion would actually be, every week, try and learn one page or one double spread of words. If you did that every day for a year, by the end of the year, you'll have covered the whole book, and we know just how valuable and good the vocabulary is there. So even if you've done the sections, please treat it as an opportunity to learn, expand your vocabulary. But that's just generic advice, that's not actually part of today's homework. Jumping into it then. So you can see for week 4 we do have the online homework here at the top. You notice there's two sections, multiple meanings and word connections, and these will look like the following. So underneath here, word meanings and connections. Now one fantastic thing that is now available as an option, there is a 9 to 10 and a 10 to 11 option for all the verbal reasoning subjects, and so that does mean you can choose. And so I've got here two examples. You can see here in closest in meaning I've done very, very well, but in odd one out I struggled. If this is you, if you're getting sort of less than 50%, I would consider dropping down to the 9 to 10 version and doing the equivalent. So if I were to click into 9 to 10 verbal reasoning, I'll still be able to find the exact same odd one out section, and that gives me an opportunity to try it there. We would still ask that you try it 3 times, but we're absolutely okay if you would like to try it in one, drop down, move up, and that sort of allows it to tailor your experience a little bit more. It would be completely acceptable at this stage in the course for everyone to be doing the ages 9 to 10, which is slightly easier on the verbal reasoning front, but equally, if you feel like you're up for a challenge and you want to try the 10 to 11, please don't feel like you shouldn't hold back. We're more than happy for you to sort of self-select a little bit if you fancy a challenge. And what I would say is if you're doing really well, getting sort of full marks on the 9 to 10, maybe give the higher one a try. Certainly as the year progresses, we will be moving towards the 10 to 11 because that is the level of the exam. But for now, early days yet, please feel free to choose. Anyway, just make sure for today you do at least 3 versions of A multiple meanings and 3 versions of a word connections for the online. On now then to the main body, so we're going to be looking at the Galore Park Verbal Reasoning Workbook, and that is this book here, and we're going to be doing pages 16 to 17. Now, the way it works is we're doing word analogies, and for these you have to try and find how these words are linked. So here's a good example. So brave is to cowardly, as loathe is to something. Now what I just want to say, the way I prefer to read these is brave is linked to cowardly, the same as loathe is linked to something. So I add the word linked in, and that helps me make a little bit more sense of what the questions are actually asking me. And so I will say that again. How is brave linked to cowardly? Well, those are opposites. So the same way loathe would be linked to adore, because those are also opposites. And I find that way of reading out and saying the question is really powerful. And so even when I'm here, I will be saying brave is linked to cowardly as loathe is linked to ... even though linked isn't there. And actually what you may even want to do is, at least on the first one, the example, you could even add in the word right at the top, just to remind you. So brave is linked to cowardly as loathe is linked to. Think about what that link is. And if you can't spot a link, that's a probable sign that then you're guessing. So thinking about what the link is, I would say, is the most important skill. And actually what's brilliant is this first section really helps focus on practicing that skill, because what we've been asked to do for the following sections is to explain the link between the words. And you can always write this as a full sentence. It doesn't have to be a long sentence though, as you'll see, because what I'm noticing, meadow is linked to pasture in the same way that they are synonyms. They mean the same thing. So the link, you could just write down simply that what is the link? Well, they are synonyms or the same meaning. Meadows and pastures are both open fields with sort of no trees on them. Meters is linked to length. Well, the link there would be the units. So the link is meters are how you measure, or the units you measure length in. So now I could think, well, what would I measure weight in, for example? It might be grams or kilograms. I can start to think about other things that are linked in the same way. Minuscule is linked to tiny. That's another synonyms question. Minuscule and tiny mean the same thing. Spin is linked to nips, not by meaning at all, but if you look, S-P-I-N, N-I-P-S is backwards, so it's like a mirror reflection. So it doesn't have to be to do with the meanings, it could be some other link. But that makes sense, I can explain it, that it's like a mirror reflection of the word, therefore that's the link. Paris, the link is Paris is the capital of France, so I would write down it's the capital city. And fox is to vixen. Fox is linked to vixen because a lady fox is called a vixen. So the link, it's the female animal. And so, for example, a horse, the female version would be a mare, for example, or a sheep would be a ewe, or a chicken would be a hen. And I can start to come up with other examples. And that's a really good test for these questions, as well as just thinking about it. You're not having to write this down, but maybe if you can come up with your own example that links in the same way. That's a good test of your understanding. Sapphire is linked to blue because sapphires are blue. That's the colour they are. A badger is linked to set because a set is where a badger lives. In the same way a rabbit lives in a warren, or a chicken would live in a chicken coop. It's the name of the burrow or the place that the animal lives. Furious is linked to enraged because they're synonyms. A deer is linked to fawn because a fawn is a baby deer, so it's the baby animal. Nocturnal is linked to hedgehog because that's when hedgehogs are active. So you can have nocturnal, the opposite is diurnal, I think, for being up in the day, but it means it's when it's active. And glum is linked to morose, again, because it's a synonym, and hopefully that's useful. And I think that's a really good skill test, that one, of to sort of see, can you spot them? And again, to be able to come up with more examples. So glum is to morose, as happy is to thrilled, because those are both synonyms. Oh, nearly there. Hoard is to reserve. That's another synonym. If you reserve things, you keep it back. If you hoard things, you save them up. And finally, stone is to mason. Stone is what a mason works on. So a good link there, example, to test I understand would be who works with wood. And it's carpenters who work with wood. That's a similar kind of link. Hopefully that makes sense for everybody. On then to the next page, now we have to sort of put that skill into action. I would still be doing the process as before. So in here, number 1, we've got tree is linked to trunk. Well, I still want to take a moment to think about what is that link and see if I can put it into words. And the only difference is then I'm applying it. So a tree has a trunk, it's the bit that holds it up. Well, a flower is held up by its stem. A tennis is played on a court. Golf is played on a course, spelt like this. Not a pitch, not a cause, not a club, a course. Notice how with that one I didn't actually say link to, I used the word that describes it. So tennis is played on a court, that's the link. Golf is played on a course. I'm using the word to explain the link. Oranges are surrounded by peel, eggs are surrounded by shell. Perfume is enjoyed or noticed with your nose. Music is enjoyed or noticed with your ear. Fall means to descend. Scale means to go up, and so I think here climb is the closest version of going upwards. Brave is synonyms with courageous, we saw that earlier, there's a synonyms, so cowardly is synonyms with timid. 5 is the number of sides a pentagon has. 7 is the number of sides a heptagon has. A team is another name for a group, whereas team with 2 E's is it's a team. It's to swarm around someone. So you might say it was the pond was teeming with fish, swarming with fish. There's loads of them. That's a good one, sneaky. So you use team and team, which are the homophones. I like question 8. That's very clever. A wing is used to fly, as a tail is used to balance. Certainly in monkeys, for example, is to help keep their balance, or even cats climbing on fences and things. Tails are good for balance. However, can be used the same way as but. Also, can be used to say, consequently, that kind of means as well as, moreover, I think. Also, we'll check that one to make sure that's a good one. Yeah, moreover. And again, it's a synonym. Moreover is but, and also is moreover. Glad I got that one right. Guys and girls, make sure you put down at the bottom here a score out of 10. This, remember, is what you're going to use to stick at the front of the book. Just as a reminder, please, we don't sticker on the pages. On the very front cover, you'll have your little sticker, and it's those front cover with each of the dots. That's where you put them. So, for example, if you've got a green sticker on week number 4, in that 4th place, you might put a green sticker on the front cover, and that's to sort of inform the tutor how you're doing. But remember, of course, if there's still more sections to go, which I think there are for this particular topic, you want to sort of average over the course of 2. The purpose of the sticker is for two things. One, it's to inform your tutor so they know how you're doing and if they need to support you in any way during the lesson, but also it's partly for you to sort of highlight, well, hang on, no, I've done that homework, it's fine, I can move on, or maybe, oh, actually, no, I need to come back and try this again at a future date. So it's kind of a way of signposting for you in the future, is there anything in this book that's unfinished and needs looking at again? So that's why we stick it on the front to make it easy to see. Oh, I like this question. So, finding the association between words is the most important skill. Practice linking words. So a pillow is linked to cushion because pillow and cushions are very similar. Cushion is soft. Soft things are feathers. Another name for a feather is a quill. That's kind of a pen made out of a feather. Well, I think then a link from quill to would be to, for example, to pen. That makes sense. What's a pen used for? Well, the pen is used to write things, or writing. And what could you write? Maybe a story or a book, or some notes. Let's see what they went with there. I nearly had it. So there you go. So pillow, cushion, soft feathers, quill, pen, write, and story. I went with book. Now you'll notice I would still, by the way, guys, consider book correct. Feel free, if you've got something that's similar and makes logical sense, feel free to have an adult check-in, as long as you can explain each of the links. So I can explain that a quill is a type of pen, and a pen is used to write, and a thing that you write might be a book. I think that's a perfectly acceptable answer. So if yours varies ever so slightly, for example, you might have gone from quill to pencil, and then pencil maybe to drawing, and drawing to art, I actually think that would be a perfectly acceptable answer, because it's still quite logical and makes sense. So feel free to have someone check that if yours is slightly different, but you think it may make sense. Remember, it's as long as you can explain the differences, I think you're welcome to get the marks for that one. So in this case, we're choosing the words to fill in the space, so you do need for these questions to be going through and selecting the most sensible option, and in this case here, it's the great white shark can be very aggressive and can smell blood from extraordinary distances. So in this case, you're picking the most sensible words to fill in the gap. And these are page 18 and 19 within the Glore Park book. So let's have a look. We've got here, the heavy rain, something soaked us from head to foot. Well, I think if it's heavy rain, it's going to quickly soak you from head to foot. Notice, please, how I read both sides of the sentence before answering. A lot of people will sneakily or just try and have a guess with only reading the first half. If you do that, you're missing on a lot of what we would call contextual information. There was a big clue of what the rain actually did, because the rain could have raced after them, or the rain could have stopped. So reading afterwards before answering, I think, is probably the most important skill for this question type. So the young boy was something by the loud thunder. Well, I think he's very young. He could probably be terrified by the loud thunder. I can understand that. It can be quite scary when you don't know what's going on. The owners were very something about the legend of the ghost. They were very sceptical about the legend of the ghost, or very scarred. No, if that said scared, I would believe it, but no, that's scarred. So I think sceptical is the most sensible answer, and it means they don't really believe it. The children were something after their long walk. Well, I think ravenous means hungry, and that makes sense. After a long walk, you'd want to have some snacks to refill your energy. The girls could not make a something about what to wear to the party. They could not make a choice. They were deciding what to wear. That sounds plausible. Grandad Jack is very something for his age. Very spontaneous, slightly. Sprightly. Sprightly means sort of healthy, but especially for sort of, almost youthful. So to say Grandad is very youthful for his age, that's a lovely compliment to pay someone. Oh, this one's, all the context is afterwards, so you definitely need to read after the options from here. So something's land belonged to both brothers in the family. So it's going to be their land, and we need to pick the correct one. Good little tip for this, if you read the letter starting from the H, sometimes it gives you a clue. So this is sort of a here and there. This is obviously they are. So you could try with, you've got the apostrophe, they are land belonged to both brothers. That doesn't make sense. So in this case, it's their land, which is the first one, which means possessive. But it's not a here and there. It's not like saying the land is here or there, which is a good way of checking which one. And obviously theirs, that's the plural. That doesn't make sense at all. So Alex was not sure something. She had passed the final exam. She was not sure whether she had passed her exam, but we need to make sure we pick the right one. This weather is the weather outside, but I want to know whether or not, which is the option, whether or not she had passed the exam. The teacher gave Jimmy lots of something for his excellent homework. Well, it's probably praise. Praise meaning good job, well done. And this is the kind of praise. That's prayers, pray or pray like a prey animal. It's like a hunter would hunt after prey. That doesn't make sense. So praise, I think, is definitely the option. The school something spoke to the pupils. Oh, well, the school spoke to the pupils always makes sense, so it needs to not mess the sentence around too much. So the school principal spoke to the pupils. The principal, remember, that's another bit like a headmaster. The principal of the school, the headmaster, they're kind of the same thing, they're synonyms. Right then, so in this case, it's very similar, but now we're picking 2 words again, and so there's just a bit more going on. So again, I'm still going to read the whole sentence, even to the very end, before answering the first, because again, it might just give me more contextual clues. It might give me a bit more clues about what's going on. So the television something will definitely something at the end of the month. So the television license, and that's a license like you want to pay for a license as in to sell something, will definitely expire at the end of the month. Well, that's something you could know, expiry dates, and when you have to then sort of refresh it or pay for it, which is good. So license and expire, just watch out for they got the right spelling of license there. It's a bit of a tricky one. So number 2, it was something to have to wait in the long... well, I think it was frustrating to wait in the long queue. That makes sense to me. My granddad is a something supporter of the something football team. Well, fervent means really passionate, and people do get to get quite passionate about their football teams. So he's a passionate, fervent supporter of the resident football team. Now, resident means in the local area. So I think that makes the most sense to me. Oh, let's have a look down here. Yes. Oh, no, local. That makes more sense. I even said it. Resident is a word for local. Well, local's even better. I'm glad I checked. So my granddad is a fervent supporter of the local. Yeah, that makes more sense because that local team is like his team next door. And quite often, that's what people will do. They'll support the team that they either grew up with and got to watch or the one they can get to easily. That makes the most sense. Excuse me. Fervent and local for sure. The delivery driver... And the reason I made that mistake is I didn't check all the options. Very easy mistake to make. Delivery driver was struggling to deliver something parcel to my neighbour's house. Well, you'd be struggling to deliver a big parcel, and hefty means big and heavy. So a hefty parcel to my... Well, it's probably someone he'd be able to see, so neighbour's house. And again, it's not neighbour is house, so it's the neighbours with the S without the apostrophe. To my neighbour's house. The cyclist set off at a something pace and found something challenging. Well, rapid means fast, so he's going to run out of steam, and you're going to find the ascent, because that means to go up. So he's going to find the ascent challenging. A strong magic something was something in the witch's cauldron. Well, probably a potion was bubbling in the cauldron. Oh no, not bubbling, brewing. I was guessing bubbling was there again. But brewing means creating, so yeah, I like that. A strong magic potion was brewing in the witch's cauldron. Oh, I like that option better. Good. The delighted audience broke into some kind of applause when the someone actress came on stage. So the delighted, the happy, broke into spontaneous. That's like, what a surprise. So spontaneous applause when the... Probably it's going to be a good actress because they're delighted, so distinguished. That means, excellent, really good, really well praised. So spontaneous applause when the distinguished actress came on stage. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I somethinged my lunch to something the harp. So no, it's the lunch break. So you could devour my lunch, but you can't devour a lunch break. So probably I sacrificed my lunch break to practice the harp. Yeah, that happens. I know at school sometimes you might skip a break time to go have a music lesson. That makes sense to me. Number 8. Jeevan was something after her long boat journey up the something river. Well, it can't be towering. So Jeevan was... Well, you'd be tired because it's a long boat journey. So weary means tired. So she was tired after her long journey up the... meandering kind of means twisting and turning, and that would make the boat journey long. So yeah, I think Jeevan was tired, weary, after the long journey up the winding, meandering river. That makes sense to me. Number 10. The teacher somethinged her class outside in the something sunshine. Well, I think it would be really exciting if the teacher taught her class outside in the blazing sunshine, glamorous, bountiful, beauty. I think blazing doesn't make sense because beautiful would make sense. And it does make sense if it was really bright and sunny, it would go outside. So I think we've got that one right. Let's have a look. Yes, taut and blazing. Phew, got away with it. Good. I always like to check if we just need to. And by the way, that's okay as well, guys. If ever you're not sure, have your guess, and then feel free to check the answers and see. As long as you then go back and correct the answer and think about why, there's no harm in using the answers to support your work. Okay, on then to the last couple of pages, 20 and 21. This is for completing the sentence. So each of these has 4 letters missing, and when you add them in, it will complete the word. One thing I will say about these is they can be challenging. Sometimes you'll spot it straight away, but sometimes you won't. I think the important thing to highlight is if you do get stuck, move on. Certainly within the section, I'm going to try all 6 of these where I'm not sure, skip it, move on to other ones, come back later. I think it's a good way of doing it because you could get stuck on question 1 and then sort of run out of time and not really have tried all the rest. So just do the ones you can, come back to them for a second pass. And if you're still not sure, don't worry, obviously we'll go through them in the video and hopefully clarify and clear up anything that's unsure. So let's run through them. So reading the sentence again, I'm going to read the whole thing. The dog was very something for running away from the owner. Obviously in this case they've given you a bit of a clue, so it was very something from running away. As it ends in L, I'm going to go with disloyal. It was very disloyal from running away from its owner. Then we've got the mountain was in something table environment for climbers. Well, mountains sound like a difficult place to go, so I'm going to go with inhospitable. Inhospitable environment for the climbers. Then we've got, let's add these in, sorry guys, I've decided to write them in. So disloyal, so that's L-O-Y-A. Disloyal was inhospitable, so that's going to be O-S-P-I, hospitable. Number 3, the several pro-something climbed over the railings. Well, that's probably protesters. So E-S-T-E-R-S, yeah, protesters climbed over the railing and lifted up the banners. We visited our Asians at the weekend. Well, these are probably relations, so R-E-L-A, relations at the weekend. The woman's something was very convincing. Disguise, I think. D-I-S-G-U-I-S. G-U-I-S was very convincing. The elderly man gets very something looking at the old... sentimental, I think. So sentimental is when you remember fondly old things. That's anyway, I think, ending in mental. So S-E-N-T-I, sentimental, looking at his old war photographs. We can just check these here. And yeah, there you go. There's the words. On to the next page then. So, and it says here, sometimes you have to use the rest of the clue to give you clues about the word. That's what we've been doing anyway, which is very good. It's going to make it a lot easier for us to answer them. So, Danny was something before the exam started. Nervous before an exam. That's totally sensible. So, E-R-V-O. Nervous before the exam started. Her something expression told us something was wrong. Well, a serious expression would tell you. So E-R-I-O. Serious expression told us something was wrong. The class looked at the pictures, portraits of famous people in the gallery. That one kind of jumped out at me, the portraits. So in that case, if it's portrait, it's... Oh, we're missing the trait part. T-R-I-G-R-A-I. Portraits of the famous people in the gallery. Number 10, they something to the match because of the bad weather. Probably they delayed it, and the word that means the same as delayed is they postponed it. So that's S-T-P-O. Postponed. Number 11, the gate is made of something iron. Now I know this one. Wrought iron is how you pronounce it, but it's W-R-O-U-G. H-T, so wrought iron. And wrought iron means sort of hammered out from iron. It doesn't mean like melted into place. It's kind of a wrought iron is kind of something sort of blacksmiths would work in. You can imagine with a blacksmith hitting his hammer on the iron. That's wrought iron. The politician is very charismatic. So charismatic is H-A-R-I. Charismatic. 13. Reverse parking is a very difficult, it's when you're sighted, maneuver. A maneuver is an action you take, so that's quite a hard one. M-A-N-O-E-U-V. M-A-N-O-E-U-V-R-E. Maneuver. Tough word to spell that one, so well done if you got maneuver spelled correctly. 14. The walls were covered with something carpets. Well, the word that means complicated is elaborate. So B-O-R-A. Elaborate carvings. And again, I'll just put them up here just to make sure. Yeah, here are our words. Feel free to pause it if you prefer the writing of them here. So you can just check your answers with the spelling. And we'll then move on to the next page. So we're doing it very similarly here. We're just adding in more words, kind of adding it, making a bit more of a challenge. So the people became very frustrated, F-R-U-S, frustrated, waiting in the long queue. So A-I-T-I, waiting in the long queue at the post office. The bed was so comfortable, he fell straight to sleep. So comfortable is M-F-O-R and T-R-A-I. T-R-A-I, straight to sleep. Number 3, in an interview, it's important you have a smart appearance. That makes sense. So in T-R-V-I-E, R-V-I-E, sorry, interview, it is important, so O-R-T-A, important, you have a smart appearance. Number 4, the employee felt very something with her job, felt very discontented is a word that means unhappy. So the employee, so P-L-O-Y, felt very discontented. So that's going to be contented, so N-T-E-N for discontented, which means unhappy. I'll just reveal them here just to make sure. Again, guys, feel free to pause it if you want to just see them written down here nicely. I'm doing my best. It's quite hard to spell through halfway through the word, so you're doing very well if you're following along. Okay. All the team faced relentless questions from the media. So relentless, that means like ongoing, never ending. So that is E-N-T-L. And questions, C-U-E-S-T-I. So C-U-Q-U-E-S-T-I-O-N-S, questions from the media. Very good. The police did an intensive search of the perimeter. That intensive means very careful and with lots of energy. And actually, not perimeter, sorry, premises. That makes more sense. Premises, again, it means the area or the space inside. So they did an intensive search of the premises. Yeah, that makes sense with prem, not per. Because it could have been perimeter, which is the outside, but premises actually is better. So number 6, that is intensive. So in 10, so N-T-E-N, so N-T-E-N surf, and premises is prem-i-ses, premises. Number 7, the teacher decided to confiscate the boy's ball. So he's probably being a little bit naughty, so E-C-I-D, to confiscate, so confiscate is N-F-I-S. N-F-I-S. Confiscate the boy's ball. Number 8. The local residents campaigned against the new bypass. So what that means is the local people living in an area didn't like and wanted to sort of rejecting having a new road, and that probably was going to mess up their park or something, or normally that when there's a good reason when residents don't want change to happen because it would affect where they live. That makes sense. So residents is E-S-I-D, and campaigned is C-A-M-P-A-I-G, P-A-I-G-N-E-D, against the bypass, campaigned. Number 9, doing really well, guys. Rory maintained his bedroom in immaculate order. That means he keeps it really, really neat. So maintains is I-N-T-A. maintains his bedroom, and immaculate means like incredibly clean, and that's IMMACULATE, immaculate order. Number 10, God, did really well. Molly something about what could be in the parcel, so she speculated. What a great word. SPECULATED, speculated about what could be in the, it's not the upcoming parcel, it's going to be the EX, the exciting parcel. So that would be EXCITING, exciting parcel. I think that makes sense. Let's just have a check. Whew, we got away with it. Okay, guys, well done. I'll just make that nice and big. Again, you're welcome to use my words as we've gone through, or if you need to see it, that's down there, other words. Really well, guys, that wasn't as easy. There's lots of spelling there, so just be very careful with that one. Again, give yourself a score. Again, just when I come back to my final note, it might be the case that some of these sections went really well and others didn't go well. Don't feel bad about using 2 stickers. So it would be entirely possible if the first section went brilliantly and it was a green, you could stick yourself a green sticker. And if the first section was more of an amber, you could also stick next to it an amber sticker. Now, I wouldn't use probably more than 2 stickers to, that's only when we're doing 5 or 6, but just to give a general feel, because remember the goal is to communicate with the tutor and communicate with you. So if I saw this on week 4 on my sticker on the front cover, it means, oh, some of it went well, but maybe some of it, maybe these spellings, for example, if they turned out to be quite challenging, you may come back to and look again at a different time. And guys, that's absolutely allowed, in fact, outrightly encouraged. So remember, the more clarity, the better. So please feel free to do something like that when you finish this section. Oh, sorry, there's just one more little section here, and in this case you've been practiced finding the missing letters, so just this is a good little example, and for these ones I'm just going to show you a few. So presence, according, empowered, and again it's possible you found other answers. There may be other, so certainly power, for example, you could just do POWER, for example, for power, so you could think of many words, so feel free again to get someone to check them. As long as they are correct, I have no problem with you giving yourself the marks, that little bonus section. Right, everybody, thank you so much for your attention today. We've worked incredibly hard. Keep an eye out, obviously, for the non-verbal reasoning video, but I hope that was really useful. See you all again next week. Bye!